In the second year of marrying Page Yingchuan, he died in battle. I went to Guangsheng Temple to keep vigil for him for 3 years, and today I finally returned home. Page Jingming, Page Yingchuan's younger brother, greeted me with the cold expression sister minus and minus law. You've worked hard. The Pei family will support you from now on. I raised my eyes and fearedly no knee. I'm going to remarry. I just came back today to count my dowry. Ji Xiaoyi, a young scholar I met at the temple, had been pestering me lately, threatening to die if I didn't marry him. Although his words were absurd, they suited my mood. 3 years in the temple were too lonely, and I had to find some amusement for myself. When Pei Jingming heard this, his face turned black instantly. Why, what a clever sister minus and minus law. You even managed to have a good relationship while cultivating in the temple. I smiled at him, leaned close to his ear, and whispered softly, Pei Jingjuan, if you could fake your death to marry your childhood sweetheart, why can't I marry a scholar? As soon as I finished speaking, a servant reported that Pei Jingming in the study was flying into a rage, and the servants waiting on him were trembling with fear, not knowing the reason. At that moment, I was checking my dowry in the warehouse, not looking up as I asked where are my pair of big red Rukiln porcelain vases. Look carefully, I need them for my second marriage. And that pearl headdress, its craftsmanship has long been lost. Don't lose it. The boy reported, trembling Lime Adam. The second young master is scolding you in the study and has smashed many things. I replied casually, did he smash any of my dowry? If he's angry, go find Song King. I'm his widowed sister minus and minus law, and I should avoid suspicion. Ji Xiaoyi's face appeared in my mind again. With red eyes, he said, King, I'm worried that when you go back and see Pei Jingming's face, which is similar to Pei Jingshuan's, you will abandon me. My heart softened, and I comforted him for a long time. But he had just passed the palace examination and been appointed as the 3rd top scorer. If he really went to my door and denounced me for being unfeeling, the reputation of my Wen family as a scholarly family and my image of abiding by women's virtues would be completely ruined. I had to speed up the process of counting my dowry to avoid any accidents. The boy kept urging me, and I finally got annoyed when he smashed to the Pei family's things, which have nothing to do with me. But on second thought, I had casually told him that I was pregnant earlier. If he accidentally revealed it while scolding, it would be a big trouble. Well, I might as well go take a look. As soon as I entered the study, a porcelain vase was thrown at me. I dodged it quickly if I got hurt. Si Xiao, you would probably make a scene at the Hu mansion. Song King stood aside, her face pale, presumably never having seen Pei Jingming so angry. What's wrong with you, brother minus and minus law? I stroked my lower abdomen, my tone calm. Song King spoke first. Sister minus and minus law looks well. Much better than you. The air in the mountains is clean, unlike this Hu mansion, which is filthy. Song King was choked with anger and was about to explode when Pei Jingming said, get out. Song King immediately became arrogant. Did you hear that? My husband told you to get out. But the next second, Pei Jingming roared at her impatiently, you get out. Song King was stunned, glared at me and left unwillingly. As she passed by me, I whispered, look, the childhood sweetheart you worked so hard to marry is not even as good as me. A widowed woman, she glared at me angrily and finally left under Pei Jingming's cold gaze. Wen Yining, your Wen family is a scholarly family, yet you raised such a shameless daughter. You even got pregnant with another man while keeping vigil for your husband. Pei Jingchuan, you are a descendant of the loyal and good Pei family, but you are no better than a beast. You didn't die, so what kind of vigil am I keeping? He looked shocked. You knew all along? Did you think you did it perfectly? Although you and Pei Jingming are twins. He never had this tea fragrance on him. I have had a sharp nose since I was a child. When you stood in front of me and said you were Pei Jingming, I knew you were lying. My eyes were sharp as I looked at his furious appearance. If you knew it was me, how could you leave so calmly? You obviously. He stopped halfway, and I interrupted him. Obviously loved me deeply and couldn't live without me? Could it be that you still have feelings for me? He immediately denied it, but a trace of guilt flashed in his eyes. I breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. Otherwise, if it gets out that the younger brother covets his widowed sister minus law, it will be bad for the Hu mansion's reputation. What mean? How dare you have an affair with another man? Aren't you married to Sun King? With 3 matchmakers and 6 mens, and a grand wedding procession. What's it to you? He coughed lightly and put on an arrogant look. I just wanted you to stay in the temple for a while. When things calm down, I will pick you up and take you into the mansion with a different identity. After all, we have been together for a year, and I am not without affection for you. I almost laughed angrily. Take me into the mansion with a different identity. As a concubine? I am the legitimate daughter of the Grand Tutor. How could I be your concubine? Pei Jingchuan, have you lost your mind? He looked wronged. If you don't want to be a concubine, that's fine. But every time I went to see you, you were very cold and unapproachable. I closed my eyes. How dare he say that? Every time he went up the mountain, the spies arranged by my mother would notify me in advance. I had to change out of my fine clothes, put on coarse cloth, leave the small courtyard my father built for me, and pretend to be miserable in the Buddhist hall. What was even more difficult was Zi Xiaoyi. He would look at me with resentful eyes all night, asking me if I was going to abandon him, tossing me so much that my throat was hoarse. How could I have the energy to deal with Pei Jingchuan the next day? In his eyes, my exhaustion was mistaken for coldness. King and I grew up together. She swore to never marry for the rest of her life. How could I bear it? Besides, I have already given you the position of principal wife for a year. You should be content. He frowned, as if he had made a great concession. Forget it. Abort the child, and I will pretend nothing happened. I looked at him amused like Pei Jingxuan. What makes you think I will give up my child for you? My father is the Grand Tutor, and I don't need to wrong myself. He was anxious. You have a prominent family background. How can you let a scholar with unknown origins take advantage of you? If not him, then you? I glanced at him coldly, sneering in my heart. He was reluctant to let go of my family background, nor did he want to give up his childhood sweetheart. Just as Pei Jingming really died in battle, he came up with this idea of faking his death, keeping me as a backer and marrying his childhood sweetheart, playing a good game of chess. Zi Xiaoyi was different. After he became the 3rd top scorer, Princess Rongjian pestered him to marry her, but he would rather not be the 3rd top scorer than refuse. He went back to the mountain and pestered me to marry him. Such purity was much better than Pei Jingchuan. Pei Jingchuan shouted angrily, I will not allow you to remarry. Oh, on what basis? I want to see how you stop me. Could it be that you will fake your resurrection? I smiled with my eyes, and now I was already brightened by Zi Xiaoyi's care. Pei Jingchuan could no longer affect my emotions. He pulled me to see the old lady. The old lady was a vegetarian and prayed to Buddha with a kind face, but she didn't even look back. I heard from Erlang that you are going to remarry. The emperor praised my daughter minus law of the Pei family for her chastity the other day. How can you remarry? If you feel the Buddhist temple is too hard, you can go back to the Pei family's Buddhist hall to cultivate. I sneered, but I heard that after your youngest daughter minus law lost her husband, you found her a new husband within a year, and her dowry was twice that of her first marriage. Then I looked at Dong King, checked the 3rd young lady's dowry. Where are my box of kingfisher feather jewelry and box of ancient books? The old lady finally got excited. Since you married into the Pei family, your dowry is the Pei family's property. I smiled gently but spoke coldly. Old lady, if my dowry is not fully in the warehouse before dark, the news of Pei Jingchuan faking his death may spread. She turned around suddenly, her face full of shock and anger. Just then, a familiar voice came from outside the door. It was Zi Xiaoyi. Honey, why have you been out for so long? He looked around and walked quickly towards me, completely ignoring the eyes of the Pei family. Who dares to break into the Hu mansion? Pei Jingchuan roared. Zi Xiaoyi said calmly. I'm Zi Xiaoyi. Pei Jingchuan's eyes lit up. Are you the third top scorer this year? You seduced someone else's wife. I will impeach you. Zi Xiaoyi ignored him and only held my hand to check carefully. Honey, are you hurt? Why didn't you tell me in advance that you were counting the dowry? You just entered the Hanlin Academy and have a lot of affairs. I can handle such small things myself. I comforted him and smoothed his messy hair. He smiled and leaned against my hand. Honey, you care about me, and I also have just surprises for you. Then he waved his hand, and a group of servants carried several large boxes in. I saw that the kingfisher feather hairpin on Mrs. Shilang's head was very similar to yours. When I asked, I found out that it was the third young lady of the Pei family who took the wrong dowry. Lord Shilang has already sent someone to send it back. As soon as he finished speaking, Hai Mingzhu came back crying, Mother, I have no face to live. Zhixiao, you said in the flower viewing banquet that I stole my sister minus Law's dowry. I looked at Zi Xiaoyi, and he touched his nose. Honey, I always say what I think. Looking at his innocent eyes, I sighed helplessly. What bad intentions could he have? He was just seeking justice for me. When Yaming, you are going too far. Pei Jingchuan gnashed his teeth. Pai Mingzhu also shouted at me fiercely. You are a widowed woman. Why do you need so many jewelry? Could it be that you want to have an affair? And the powder smell made me feel nauseous, and I couldn't help retching. Honey, are you okay? Is the baby being naughty again? Zhu Xiaoyi looked worried. As soon as he said this, Pai Mingzhu and the old lady screamed at the same time. You are actually pregnant. You aren't chaste. Zhou Yi stared with innocent eyes and asked, is this considered unchaste? Then what about the second young lady of the Pei family, who had an affair with Lord Shilang only 2 months after her wedding? I thought this was popular in the capital, so I took good care of you a month after you went up the mountain. Pei Jingchuan punched the door frame, his face ashen. Pai Mingzhu was even more shocked and blurted out, how do you know? Zi Xiaoyi's eyes lit up. I guessed it. Did I guess right? Pai Mingzhu couldn't speak for a moment. Enough. Xiaoyi, I will impeach you in front of the emperor. Pei Jingchuan reached out to grab Zi Xiaoyi. I was about to stop him, but Zi Xiaoyi protected me behind him, his face gentle but his tone cold. Brother, are you feeling sorry for your sister? Then why don't you feel sorry for your younger brother? I came here today not only to find my wife, but also to recognize my family. My mother is Ewnei. The 3 members of the Pei family froze in place instantly. The old lady asked, trembling, Lai, you are not dead. I was supposed to die, but my wife saved me. Zhou Yi looked at me. Brother, don't you remember me? Back then, Mother asked you to send me to the mountain to recover, but you left me halfway up the mountain to fend for myself. I looked at him in shock. So he was the weak child I saved in the mountains when I was 9 years old. Back then, I went to pray with my mother and found him dying in the grass. I asked someone to save him and entrusted the temple monks to take good care of him. It's you. Honey, you finally recognized me. He looked at me round. At that time, I swore that I would repay you. I laughed dryly. This was not repayment at all. He had clearly pestered me, pretending to be a Dow minus out scholar and fainting by the mountain stream, throwing himself into my arms on a thunderstorm day and saying he was afraid, pestering me for a guarantee before the palace examination, which led to the child in my belly. Zi Xiaoyi held my hand. Honey, you said you liked the magnolias in the Hu mansion. We will live here from now on. This is the second surprise. The old lady screamed, you have no right to decide for the Hu mansion. Zi Xiaoyi glanced at her coldly. We will soon have the right. Father has reported my identity to the emperor, and the imperial edict appointing me as the heir will come soon. As soon as he finished speaking, the old marquis hurried back, looked up and down at Zi Xiaoyi, and said with a pleased face, Good, good. From now on, your name will be Pei Xiaoyi. and you will recognize your ancestors and return to the family. Pei Jingchuan shouted father, but the old marquis ignored him, and Zi Xiaoyi replied calmly, I listened to father. The old lady still wanted to argue, but Zi Xiaoyi took out the evidence of the blood test, and she was instantly lost for words. Pei Jingchuan was unwilling father, sister minus and minus law is pregnant with an outsider's child. Zi Xiaoyi looked at the old marquis playfully, father, do you want me to abandon my wife, just like you abandoned my mother back then? The person I set my heart on, I will spend my whole life with. The old marquis's face was ashen, but he had no choice. In the evening, the small courtyard behind Guangshen Temple suddenly caught fire. Pei Jingchuan stood outside the courtyard, muttering sinisterly, Wen Yaning, if you don't turn back, this is your retribution. Zi Xiaoyi, you are also destined to die at my hands. The fire was fierce, and everyone thought I would definitely die. But just then, a burning piece of wood hit him in front of him. Someone poured a bucket of spirits on him and kicked him into the fire. When Pei Jingchuan was rescued, he was already charred beyond recognition and barely breathing. A female body was found in the fire with a figure similar to mine. The whole court praised me for being chaste and dying for my husband. But at this moment, I was sitting in a private room of a tea house, listening to the discussions of others, while Zi Xiaoyi poured tea for me. Is Pei Jingchuan still alive? He has one last breath left. Let's go take a look. We walked into the Hu mansion openly. When the old lady saw me, she screamed on the spot, you are not dead. Shall you help me sit down? And I said calmly, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Old lady, your son has already tried to kill me once. How dare you let him try again? Back then, he couldn't kill Zi Xiaoyi, and now he can't kill me either. What do you mean? The old lady asked. I played with the tea set on the table and said lightly, do you know why Pei Jingchuan and Song King have no children after 3 years of marriage? 3 years ago, when he pretended to be Pei Jingming to comfort me, I recognized him immediately. He even said he would take care of both wives. I couldn't swallow this anger, so I put medicine in his tea. This medicine can not only make people sterile, but Song King is probably still a virgin until now. When Pei Jingchuan on the bed heard this, he shook violently a few times and finally stopped breathing. The old lady threw herself on the bed and cried. I kindly reminded her you should call him Minger after all. Everyone thinks that Pei Jingchuan is dead. The old lady was so angry that she dressed up in her best clothes and went to the palace, denouncing me in front of the Empress Dowager for being unchaste and killing her younger son. But the Empress Dowager smiled and said when Yining kept vigil for her husband for 3 years and died for him, she is a chaste woman. You said she is not dead. Do you have evidence? The old lady blurted out. She was still in the Hu mansion with Zi Xiaoyi today. The Empress Dowager waved her hand and I walked in. When the old lady saw this, she was about to pounce on me, but was stopped by the Empress Dowager. This is Yu Wei, the adopted daughter of Mrs. Wen, who she took in while praying to Buddha. She is not Wen Yining. The Empress Dowager explained. Wen Yining was haggard and emaciated in the temple, while Yu Wei is plump and ruddy. How could they be the same person? The emperor has bestowed a marriage, letting her marry Zi Xiaoyi to continue the fate between the Pai and Wen families. The old lady trembled all over, but she had no choice. After leaving the palace, Zi Xiaoyi greeted me. Honey, did the Empress Dowager make things difficult for you? I glared at him. You are so bold. You even dare to use the Empress Dowager. He smiled. We have to make them owe the Wen family, so that I can marry you in a justifiable way. The emperor has never liked the Pei family. I just slightly revealed your resentment, and he bestowed the marriage. Our wedding was very grand, and the old lady was so angry that she vomited blood several times. After the marriage, Zi Xiaoyi placed his mother's memorial tablet in the ancestral hall, moved the old lady there too, and ordered someone to mute the old lady who was cursing him. When the old marquis came to persuade him to change his surname to Pei, He smiled and said, "Why change my surname? Besides, all the children born to my wife will have the surname Wen." The old Marquis was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood and died soon after. Hai Mingshu was divorced by her husband. When she returned to the Hu mansion, it was already empty. Zi Xiaoyi and I had already moved back to the Wen family. On the day I gave birth, my father named the child Wen Min Zia Chai, and happily patted the old Marquis on the shoulder. The old Marquis was already seriously ill at that time. The old Marquis fell down on the spot and never woke up. Later, Song King came back. She held the secret that Zi Xiaoyi had given Pei Jingqiu on the idea of faking his death, trying to threaten us. Zi Xiaoyi sneered. "It was you who took the initiative to give Pei Jingqiu on the idea back then, and even persuaded him to take care of both wives. You never wanted my wife to live well. In the end, he ordered someone to send Song King to the Wanhualua brothel." That night, Zi Xiaoyi returned to the bedroom, hugged me from behind, and his body trembled slightly. "Honey, swear you will never abandon me." I turned around and hugged him, whispering, "I swear, for the rest of my life, I will not let you be alone and helpless." I had always known that fools like Pei Jingqiu and Song King could not have come up with the idea of faking death. All of this was always in Zi Xiaoyi's plan. But so what? His plan was full of me.